Okay, good morning. Today is July 5th. We are ZENcast Live. ZENcast Live is your norm. Those that want to be involved with ZenWorks or understand a little bit more about ZenWorks, be sure to tune in, and we do different topics each week. We meet every other Tuesday, first and third Tuesday of the month, and we have different topics that have been sent in from you so that we can get you up to date on what you need to do, and then also other things like things that are changing and what's news and so forth. So we do have audio is very quiet. Thanks, Valerie. I hope that's better. I'll get a little bit closer. Get a little bit closer to my mic here. How's that? Hope that's better. Thanks for that audio adjustment. So we're in ZENcast today. Today we are talking about ZCM Primary, migrating a primary that's installed on an OS operating system like Windows or Linux to an appliance. Some of the benefits behind that, some of the appliance reasons why you do so, and how to leverage that. So today we are going to do that particular ZENcast. Let's do a little bit of house cleaning first. Again, we talked about we meet at 9 o'clock MDT every first and third Tuesday. And a little bit of house cleaning. Go ahead and subscribe or log into YouTube chat so we can get comments and we can make sure that we get the information to you. And if you have questions on the topic, you can always ask them live here on the stream. And then you can add direct message to those in the chat if you need to talk to somebody specifically, so it's highlighted, as well as the viewing. Check Auto 720p 60 will get the best video for you. You'll see some posted video descriptions, links to this download, and links to the references. They'll be in the description if you're watching this recording, or if you are live, you'll see it in the chat where you can download the presentations. So we appreciate you being here. This is the latest schedule. Today we're doing the appliance migration, and then we have other things coming up. You can always check it on our ZENcast Live schedule. Let me park this here so that you can see what's going on in the future ZENcasts, and then that way you can, and if you have topics you want to have on here, please email zen@microfocus.com or email me directly, and we'll put it into the queue. We have a couple of things in the community. One thing that we're talking about is the appliance migration and how to back up. There's a new discussion that's been out there that might fit this forum for today, being the appliance with the Veeam backup. But there's other things like delegate role. There's a new delegate role out there with 8.3 and Service Desk, and there's a new video out there as well regarding that. But there's others. So here's a few cool solution videos and information that's out there, as well as some of the cool solution TIDs that are out there. These are some that are most recent and you might find effective if you're working with these particular products. Okay, and there's links in these. If you download our presentation, you'll be able to see those. We are currently having a ZSD 831 public beta, so if you're interested in that, please email at zen@microfocus.com. Basically, it's going to be a 3-week short beta program, but you'll be able to see the insights of what's coming up in 831. A lot of that's with authentication, Microsoft Modern Authentication, as well as Gmail OAuth and Azure AD connecting to the cloud with ZenWorks Service Desk and using those user sources that are in the cloud. Okay, there are other live casts out there, like Robin Redgrave takes care of the live cast. Let me go back a second. Does some Filer, GroupWise, and OES, iPrint, and then there's also a Cuppinger analyst report on UEM. Some of the events, Technology Transfer Partners, TTP, is having events back in both in June and July, so you might want to check into that, see if the topics that you're looking for might be in this particular event. It's TTP is a technology transfer partner that it has customers. It's basically a customer forum, and all the different things that customers talk about, not just with Micro Focus products, but how they're using different products in their environment. So it's really effective and helpful. If you want to register for the Micro Focus Technical Insight series, please do so. I'll be presenting. ZenWorks is heavy on Monday and Tuesday, just so you know. And then there'll be, of course, others throughout the week, this upcoming week. Okay. Some of the versions, we are currently at ZCM 2020 Update 2. We do have the FTF. Oops, my system's been doing that. FTF 1006 is out there. So if you have your cumulative updates, which we talked about last week, how to do that. So that's out there and available to you as well. Links in this particular presentation as well to get to those. There's we're currently at ZRS 7.8, ZSD 8.3.0, and MFDC 22.4. Okay. Some of the futures that are coming up. Update 3 is coming up in September, early October, somewhere in that time frame, and then ZSD 8.3.1 should be released end of August, early September. And then MFDC 22.7 should be releasing sometime in August. Okay. A little bit of recap. So we talked a little bit last week about ZCM applying cumulative updates to the zone. You had the baseline at 998, and then you moved to 1006 or latest. And then the prerequisites, some of the prerequisites you need, downloading update 2 and the FTF server, for the baseline and so forth, but they're all found on the SLD. We covered a few questions. Must I install FTF versions independently? No, you can go straight from 998 or 999 directly to 1006, and that's the whole idea of the cumulative updates. And downtime is required depending on how you do this, right? Because if you have multiple primaries, you can update one primary at a time, and you'll be able to minimize your downtime. And then check the versions installs. There are some commands we covered in that. You could check that last week's video, or even the PDF if you haven't already seen that. Okay, the agenda today is migration to a ZCM appliance. Why ZenWorks appliance? Why would you use that instead of an OS? What is in a ZenWorks appliance, and how to migrate and demo? So today we have our guest, Harinath Jarugula, who's a ZCM principal developer with ZenWorks, and he's here today with us. Harry, you there?
Hey, Paul. Yeah.
Hello. Thank you for joining us. So we have Harry aboard. I'm going to close a couple of things here. Let's do this and bring Harry over here. There we go. All right, and he has his screen up. He's ready to go for us. And quick sound check again. Harry can be heard out there, I'm sure. Harry, so tell us a little bit about ZenWorks and Harry.
Hey, so thanks, Paul, for the introduction. So I'm Hari. As Paul was telling, I'm a principal developer who actually started up with Appliance from scratch. So I've been working on that ever since. I hope my audio is good. Just let me know if you think that it has to be better.
Sure. Yeah, I hear you fine, but we'll get a feedback from the gallery here in just a second when they hear you. We'll see if we need to tone it up. If you have a little bit more volume, that'll always help. But I can hear you just fine.
Oh, okay. I think then I'll get moving.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, as Paul was saying, we're talking about Appliance. So I'm gonna as for this call, so I'm going to tell you how can we migrate to Appliance. So before to migrate to an Appliance, I mean, why do I have to do that, right? So We just wanted to talk today about like why ZenWorks Appliance and what's in ZenWorks Appliance and how do I migrate, right? So for the migration part, I'm going to have a recorded demo video. So probably that will give you an idea. And feel free to ask your questions at any point of time. We can have those things answered at the end, probably. So moving on. So talking about like why ZenWorks Appliance, right? See, if suppose that if you have to bring up a ZenWorks server on, like say, suppose you're supposed to install a Linux primary server. So the first thing you'll do is like if you are on hypervisor, so you go to the hypervisor, you will go deploy a VM, configure it, then download the ZenWorks ISO, then go ahead and install. So like, you have to do a lot of stuff, right? With appliance, right? So it's gonna be, the way you have to solve the deploying appliance would be much smaller and then faster when compared to your actual non-appliance thing. So in short, you don't have to spend a lot of time deploying ZenWorks into your zone. It'll decrease your implementation time, and your cost also would be reduced because you don't have to pay for the license. And reliability part, because we will take care of patching all the any vulnerabilities that we get right. So those things will be addressed. So I'll probably go deep into what's it. So what's ZenWorks Appliance? So I'm going to talk about key features, like the deployment and configuration. How do I migrate? So we'll deal with it in detail in the coming slides. And there's something called an appliance administration. So you have various tools like File Explorer, Terminal, a way to enable disable logging. You have a log viewer. You can view the state of the appliance. You can tune your settings. So like that, you have multiple things. We'll talk about that in detail. So moving to appliance. So what are the key features? So I'll probably do a deep dive into what I started off, right? So suppose that we think that there are two different personas in any company wherein you have an IT admin and you have ZenWorks administrator, right? IT administrator is someone who can actually, you ask for a VM with these configurations. So he's going to bring up that and then give it to you, post which you should be able to install ZenWorks. So, in appliance, so like when you're saying appliance, it is actually coming with everything pre-filled, right? So, this appliance is going to contain your OS. It's going to contain your ZenWorks packages, all those things pre-installed. So during the build time in our lab itself, so when we build this thing, right? So we bring the just enough OS. We call it as just enough OS, wherein you don't want to, have all sorts of packages, right? So we will take the packages that are needed, which are supposed to be, helping the ZenWorks run. Pick those packages and add the ZenWorks packages, install, and then just package it and then give it to you. So, when you take the appliance, right, you don't you just go and deploy it into your hypervisor. The time it boots up, it just asks for a few small things like, what is the network configuration? Like you want a DHCP static, what is the IP LAN details? And we have two different users to be configured, right? We call one as root and one as ZenAdmin. So that's why I was telling, right? So we are expecting, we say, right, we have an IT admin persona and ZenWorks administrator persona. So root which can map to the IT admin persona, and then Zen admin is which can be mapped to the ZenWorks admin persona, right? So like when the OVA, we call it as OVA in VMware thing. So wherein if you take that, the IT admin just takes the OVA and deploys it. When it boots up, he is going to configure the root and Zen admin passwords. He's going to configure the LAN for you. And one extra thing is, adding one extra hard disk where we copy the data into that, which I'll discuss in detail in the coming slides. So, right, so up until now, right, so if you have to deploy this appliance, you just have to import that OVA into the vSphere. I'm just taking a VMware example, which we generally use. So, deploying like whatever time it takes, kind of like 15-20 minutes maybe. Whereas if you had to do that with your you have to bring up a new machine, you have to install the relevant packages. So you're going to take a lot of time there. So that's where we are saving the costs on that. And you can
one of the things I think I've really found with the appliance is how you have streamlined the appliance just for simplicity of installation and speed of installation, yet it has their full robust primary server in it. So that's something that the appliance has really I've noticed over the years has really gone great.
Yeah, thanks. So that's what I was about to go there. So it's a so after you deploy everything, we are going to give you a web-based configuration wherein you can configure what's the administrator, what's the zone name, what's your administrator password, what kind of database you're going to use, what kind of certificate, like it's going to be an internal, external certificate, like with kind of 3-4 screens, you're going to complete your appliance configuration. Then it is very easy to, if you have to move to a newer version of ZenWorks, as I was telling you, right? You don't have to. I was talking about the hard disk part, which I'm going to explain in the next slide. And the next best thing that you can do is decreasing your IT costs, right? So if you were to deploy your VM, you would have to pay for your OS license as well. Whereas in this case, we would have have the OS already built in, so you don't have to pay any separate costs for the OS. So that way you can reduce the costs as well.
Yeah, very cost effective. Thank you.
So I probably just spoke about it. So the steps you would say, right? So deploying your OVA file, attaching a disk to store ZenWorks data, and configuring your network and appliance user. Then you configure ZenWorks. So configuring ZenWorks is like after deployment, you're going to get a screen wherein you'll get the URL with which you have to go and configure the appliance. So you don't have a way to configure ZenWorks appliance within the appliance because we are not putting every other package. So if we have to, do the traditional way of installing ZenWorks appliance, wherein we usually use something called install anywhere, we don't have all those packages installed. So we're just making it easier and better to have it a web-based configuration. So you can just log into the ZenWorks appliance with either a root user or a Zen admin user, and you go configure your database certificates, those things. It's so simple that if you plan for a day, you can complete an hour, and then you can take the rest of the day off. Yeah. So that's how simple it will be.
Yes, you really have simplified it. That's awesome. Thank you.
So I've been talking about to upgrading to the major versions of ZenWorks, right? So I think I kept on saying, we're talking about the extra hard disk that we're attaching, right? So now let me just speak about it in detail. So if you assume that you have a a ZenWorks server, which need not be an appliance, right? So just assume that you have a ZenWorks primary server in which you are supposed to update. What are you going to update? You're going to update the packages. Like say you were in ZenWorks 2020, you're going to ZenWorks 20.2, you're going to install all the ZenWorks Update 2 packages, and you're going to update, the configuration that would come in as part of that update, right? This is what you would have done. Also, if you were supposed to, say you are on a SLES 12 SP2 and then it went end of life. So you somehow have to find a way to update it to the latest version which is supported, right? So you have two things to deal with, upgrading this operating system, upgrading the ZenWorks as well. So with Appliance, it's going to be simple, right? So we are going to, so as I was telling, that we install all the packages during the build time itself, which is, the OVA which you get is going to have all the ZenWorks packages pre-installed, and OS also is pre-installed. It's kind of a disk which is getting just like deployed on your hypervisor. So assume a case wherein you actually had to move from SLES 12 SP2 to SP5. So if you were doing it on non-appliance, you first have to update the SLES 12 SP2 to SP5, then download the ISO, then update the packages, then update the configuration, right? So there are a bunch of steps that you'll have to do. Whereas in the appliance case, when I had installed 2020, say with SLES 12 SP2, I would have copied all the state that is required to be carried forward to the next release into the extra hard disk. So whatever I want, everything is copied into the extra hard disk. Even the identity is also there, kept in the extra hard disk, right? Because the ZenWorks works on the identity of this machine, so the identity should not be changed. Now we call it migration for a reason that we are not updating or upgrading the same machine. We're just taking the state from that machine and migrating it to a different machine. So if you have to go to the next major version, you're going to just deploy the appliance, which is going to have your new OS, is going to have your new ZenWorks packages, and it is ready to boot. So if you are doing a fresh install, you would have attached an empty hard disk. But here you would attach the hard disk, which is taken from your previous appliance, right? So detach the containing ZenWorks data, and you're going to attach that disk to the newly deployed ZenWorks appliance. Now, when you attach that hard disk, we at the boot time, we read to see if the hard disk that is attached is a fresh hard disk or a hard disk which is having a lot of data. So depending on the data, so we're going to read to see if we find the identity, we take the identity, and we give that identity to this new appliance that you're going to get. So by the time it boots up, it would have come up with the same identity, and you just have to, like as I said in the previous one, you're gonna have your web console launched, and on the web console, you can just go and update your configuration. So by then, you're gonna complete your appliance migration. So that is that simple from like for migrating an appliance from older version to newer version by even updating your operating system. Okay, so now that I told you how do I get to appliance, how do I update if it's an appliance. Now let me tell you what's the good thing that you get with appliance. Most of the times, right? So if admin is well versed with Linux, he will be able to use an appliance. But if an admin is not so well versed with Linux, so he will have a tough time handling a Linux box. Like someone in his entire career probably using Windows, and then you ask him to suddenly go and use a Linux, may not be so easy or simple for them, right? So With that thing in mind, we kind of, build this appliance kind of a black box, meaning you don't have to know what is inside. You can do everything and anything from a web-based console. So as I was saying, again and again, we have a web console wherein you can just log in and then do stuff. So up until now, we said we will be able to configure appliance, we will be able to migrate appliance. Now, think of any daily use case for any customer. You can do that with the console itself. Say, suppose you're supposed to run a zman command. Like say you got a new system update and you want to run a zman command. So you don't have to go and find the Linux box and then go run that on like PuTTY or any SSH client. Uh, you don't have to do that. So you can just log in to the web console. There's a terminal and you can just click on it. You can run the command from there. So the same case, right? So a file explorer is something, you can actually browse the files. So you can actually, like any Windows Explorer. So the Web Explorer, we have built a file explorer on the ZenWorks web console. You can actually browse through everything. You can see it, you can download, you can upload. You can do, anything and everything what you would actually do in any other file explorer. So like continuing the previous use case of, updating system update, right? So say you have downloaded the system update zip from somewhere, you can actually download elsewhere and then do an upload from this place. So File Explorer helps you there. And the same way, if someone you get into an issue and the support asks for any particular logs, you can just browse through and then download from there. So those kind of use cases are served better, right? Also, so say you actually ran into an issue wherein you're not able to figure out what's the problem and you have to enable some logging, like you have to update to debug logging or something. If you have to do, you don't have to know like where the log file, where is the configuration file and then what do I have to update. Instead, we have a nice web-based viewer wherein you can go and change the settings. Like, say suppose I have to change like GCC log to debug. You can just log into the web console. It will show GCC log, and then you have a debug option. Just change debug. You'll be able to debug, and that's it, right? So, and say suppose you want to, see the log, like how the logs are. Just do the logs. You can view the logs also from there. Like we have a log viewer which can continuously tail, right? So that is also there. And how your appliance is monitored. How is your appliance behaving? So those things also can be monitored, which is through something called Ganglia. So which is disabled by default, but you can enable and see like how it is being used or like how it is. And you'll be able to tune the server settings as well. So say suppose one fine day your Zen server is not working, it is getting into kind of out of memory. So you can actually go ahead and update the heap memory right here by just looking at a text box. You can just go and change the text box and you'll be able to update your server settings. So which is gonna be like very helpful for you to do any daily use cases for you. So moving on, so I'll go detail on each thing, right? So a terminal, so it's like based on the OpenSSH. So usually, if your customer use case could be like running a ZMan command for like system update or any other ZMan commands that you want to run, and say suppose you want to run a ZAG command, so you want to stop services. It's going to run your micro focus and what's configure commands, like those things. All those use cases can be done in your terminal. Also, we're not limiting it that you can only run ZenWorks related things. You can actually run any other Linux commands. So it works like any other OpenSSH channel. Like you can log into any third-party SSH tool and then do whatever stuff, right? It's gonna behave exactly same. So you can do all those operations what you have done there can be done here. So the next thing is about the file explorer. I think I touched briefly, but then I'll explain detail here. So, I was telling, right, like if someone is so used to Windows Explorer, you may not have, you may not like Linux way of, going CD and all, VI, all those things, right? So this is gonna like, the file explorer is gonna just look like your Windows Explorer. So you don't feel like, you're not on Windows. So you'll be able to explore the file system, like any operation, like, creating a file, like creating a folder, deleting a file, deleting a folder. You want to cut, copy, paste. That can also be done. Rename files and folders, upload to a folder, download your files and folders. These are the things that I thought like, which is doable or like which is needed for anyone to do from a file explorer point of view. But if you think there are more, I think they also can be done using the file explorer that we have. So it's going to make the life easier. You don't have to feel that it's Linux. So getting to the next one, I just talked about the server tuning, right? So we have kind of, two ways of tuning the server settings. So one is a basic view, the other one is an advanced view. So basic view is where you don't even have to know where the file is, meaning, say, suppose you're supposed to update a script file for updating a heap memory. You don't have to know where the script file is. All that you have to know is what to update, right? So we kind of, put all the key value pairs in a form kind of a thing wherein you have what is the ZenWorks server memory, how much is it right now, like that. You will see all the key value pairs and you go and update it, save it. The moment you save it, there is a restart services option right on the top of the screen. When you click on the restart services, it's gonna, check which service related settings have been updated, and it intelligently would only list that service, and that service will be restarted and it will take effect. So you don't even have to know like where to go and update all those things. And so it is going to be very simple for you if you have to update anything like that, like, the server memory, be it the threads, C3PO pool, any performance tuning parameters can be done so simple. Again, so if you are a user who knows almost every file, you can always go to the advanced mode, wherein, we segregate all those things like per service, and you can just expand and update those files. And the same way, it's gonna check like which file is updated, and the respective service will be marked for restart. And yeah, as I said, like restarting services related to whatever the server configuration update that you have done. So the next thing is about, enabling and disabling logging, right? So like when in a day-to-day cases where like when you may run into an issue wherein, you have to enable some specific logging. So you would have to like, know where the file is, right? So again, like tuning the server settings, you have a way to configure the logging as well in a basic and advanced mode. So basic is again similar, like, a key value pair wherein you can just update it and then respective file gets updated, and the service which is supposed to consume that will be marked for restart, and then that gets restarted. Again, excuse me. Again, advanced mode is something where you actually have the properties file or XML file, whatever it is, which can be edited by you directly, right? And again, so you can restart the services all related to that log configuration change that you did. And also we've talked about, be able to view the logs. Like you can always download the logs, but then you can also tail the logs from the Appliance Web Console. So now that I spoke about, what is good, I mean, what is that you can do with Appliance, how easy your life will be with Appliance when compared to other non-Appliance machines, right? So let me just talk about how do I migrate to Appliance, right? So there's a detailed document which is there in here, but yeah, the steps are going to be very simple, wherein we have developed a utility which can actually back up the state of the ZenWorks server or backing up the database and restore to Appliance. So like, if you see, the steps are very simple: backup and restore. But yeah, I mean, it may not be so simple as what we are saying. So I have created a video recording which I can play. I hope that my video recording is seen.
Yes, we can see it.
Paul,
Thank you.
Okay. So see, this video is kind of 5 minutes, but then it's the process is not at 5 minutes. So I have trimmed and then put things in like for the interest of time, I did that. So let me just show you. So this is a Windows server, where I just launched GCC. I'm going to show you that it is a Windows server. So you can see it is Microsoft Windows Server 2019 edition, and I'm showing a GUID, which is like starting with 78 KEE, whatever. So the first step that you have to do is you go to the primary server and you have to run a command, which is, zen backup restore.bat, which is already there on your update to appliance. So which is going to be, we are saying backup. So mode is equal to backup. Where do you want to backup? So file, we're saying like it has to get backed up here. Then you just run that command. So not everyone can run. So you're supposed to be a ZenWorks super admin. So we're just checking whether you're authorized user or not. So checking the super admin credentials. And then see, we don't want the backup to be like read by anyone. So we are encrypting. So that's the reason why we're asking for a passphrase, which is kind of 10 characters at a minimum. So anything up to 10 characters can be just given. I mean, like minimum of 10 characters. So we are creating the backup zip with all the state copied and encrypted. So now, okay, so I encrypted and I also copied your the zip file to the appliance. So this is appliance which is just configured, I mean, just deployed, and we want to use this appliance as, I mean, this appliance is going to turn into the Windows machine will turn into this appliance. So I have stopped the services and copied the backup that was copied from that machine to this machine. And I'm going to run the same command, then backup restore sh, but then this time mode is restore. And the file name is given as this. And again, we are saying like you are supposed to give your super admin credentials. So you key in your super admin credentials. And that's not it, right? So we've given a key to encrypt. So we should be able to, we'll be able to decrypt only if we give the same key, right? So we'll give the key and it gets decrypted and the backup will be restored on this machine. A small error, but then it's not any problem there. So after updating to, after restoring, right? So you're supposed to run some commands, right? So this is the GUID with which we saw, right? So now we are supposed to add this as appliance server role, and we have to, have this like any certificate related stuff, probe, like there are a lot of things that you have to do. So there are a bunch of configurations that you have to run. So I have put everything into a script file, and I'm going to run those things. So these are all documented in the link that was shown in the PPT. So these config actions run one by one. So I just didn't want to run one after that, so I put everything into a script file and running it. Again, you're supposed to be a super admin to do those. So you're doing that, being in the administration credentials.
So essentially while this is running, we've backed up, saved off the Windows box, and basically restoring it to this appliance for the identity to be restored as a primary server, identical to the Windows.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So all the configurations are running. Now we completed everything. Right. So at the end of it, we are supposed to restart all the services on this so that it takes everything into effect. So these are okay. So we have to recreate the agent packages as well. I've only created one agent package to reduce the time. You can always recreate those things later as well. So once everything is done, you're supposed to restart the services, all the services, so that all these things will take into effect. So now after restart, I'll just show you how the appliance, the terminal looks like, right? So if in case you've not looked at it, so these are the black box tools I just talked about: the configuration, terminal, file explorer, logs, log configuration, and you will be able to launch ZenBooks Control Center from here itself. So just launching it from here. Logging into the GCC to just check whether everything is fine. You can actually, so your Windows primary server has been migrated to ZenBooks Appliance. So that's what it was. I think that's for the demo. Switching back to PPT, I think I am done. Any questions? Yep, it doesn't matter. Correct. Doesn't matter with it's a default port or non-default. It works either way. I think there's a question from Valerie. Yeah. We actually have something called Ganglia, which is kind of equivalent to Nagios. But looks like Ganglia Ganglia is also an open source thing, which kind of, we have issues with because it's not updated in the last 3-4 years. So we kind of wanted to move to something like Nagios, but then yeah, so we are evaluating that in the next version of appliances. We're thinking to do that. And antivirus software, we're not having anything of antivirus software as such. Not sure about any plans. Probably Paul will be able to answer that. Yeah, I mean that is very much possible. We're not limiting or like we're not stopping anyone to not install anything extra. So like the customer is free to install anything. Yeah, yeah. But the only thing is if at all they're installing any third-party things, they will have to take care of the licenses, upgrade issue. I mean, any vulnerability fixes, those things have to be taken care by them. Obviously, yeah. Yeah, I mean, you wanted to simplify it, so it can be done. Yeah. Thank you, Paul. Sure, sure. Thank you. Thanks, Paul. Yeah. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.